Hi, folks. This is Don Meissner with the North Country Fishing Report. You know, the thing, I guess that what I think about this time of the year the most in fishing is the type of fishing that I long for. And it's going to be different with everyone, but I got to tell you, I long to be able to, if I had a wish, if I could take a magic wand and have a wish for me, and I didn't have any other responsibilities or cares, I would love to spend the month of May, take 1 month and just trout fish and be able to go every day. Heaven knows how I could ever do that, and I never will. But that's what I'd love to do. And most of us here where we live don't get into trout fishing as much because it's sort of on the perimeter, on the periphery of where we would travel each day if we wanted to go fishing. But I love to trout fish because that was how I grew up. And I'd forgotten a lot of the feels and the techniques and the subtle differences about it, but I'd learn it again. And I don't know why it appeals to me so much, but it does. And so I was talking, I was talking with somebody, and they said, "Well, do you keep the fish?" And we've talked a lot about this. Most trout fishing waters are put and take. In other words, the fish are put there by the DEC and they're designed to be taken by the public. We have limits of how many we could. And as a kid, we ate the trout every day. My family, oh my gosh, we grew up on trout. And so it brought to mind how fish can taste so differently depending upon the water that they're in, the food that they eat. And I said to my wife, Linda, I said, Linda, trout, if you catch stock trout, they're not going to taste anything like a wild trout. A wild trout eats different things. Stock trout, they're kept in a hatchery and they're fed pellets of something each day. And it's no different with anything else. Animals, birds, duck hunters. Duck hunters will only hunt for a certain type of duck that they can eat. And those ducks don't feed on fish. If they're fish-eating ducks, they're going to taste terrible. If they're ducks that eat grains and like wood ducks and teal and mallard, if you like the flavor of duck, well, that's going to be the good flavor. And it's the same with fish. If depending on what the fish eat, so a wild or native fish that you catch, I remember as a kid, if I ever went to waters where there were native fish, those fish tasted so wonderful, so different from the stock trout. And if you put stock trout in a body of water, let's say they're stocked the 1st of May. By the 1st of June, if they survive, they're going to taste different than they did the 1st of May because they're going to start eating things that are available in the wild, and it's going to give their flesh a different flavor. And it's the same way with water quality. You can catch any species of fish that you want out of one body of water, and those fish are probably going to taste a little different than the same fish caught out of another body of water. And there's so many factors involved. The vegetation, the bottom, the clarity of the water, where the water originates from, how cold it is, how running and free-flowing it is. All these things can lead up to a difference in the nature of the flesh of the fish that you want to eat. And so I know we talk about catch and release, and talking about eating fish is something I don't talk a lot about. But just keep in mind that if you're going to eat the fish, where they come from and what they feed upon is going to determine just how good that fish tastes. And I'll tell you one final thing. I recently did not a podcast, but a video with who has become a very good friend of mine. But it was a kid that had come over here 10 years ago from Serbia. And he never really fished in our waters, and we fished. And I recently got a chance to interview him again. And he was showing me pictures of water in Serbia. And I said, "Oh my gosh, that river looks so wonderful. What fish live in there?" And he was telling me the fish. But he said the one fish that everybody wants to catch out of this river is carp because they are so delicious. And he said if you catch them out of one of the other waters that ran through his city or whatever, they're not good at all. But carp in this body of water tastes fantastic. And now, I'll guarantee you, 99 out of 100 people listening to this right now, if I'm fortunate enough that there's 100 of you listening, would say, "Carp? You don't eat carp." Well, apparently the water and the conditions and what those fish are eating are such that those carp taste delicious in Serbia. Well, we probably won't get to Serbia, but the next time you catch some fish and want to take them home and eat them, remember, there's a lot of factors as to whether they're going to taste good or not. Until next time, folks, this is Don Meissner with the North Country Fishing Report.